In this second presentation on the dangers of no contest clauses, I explain that no contest clauses do not prevent inheritance, abuse, or fraud. Suppose I am a manipulator who understands basic laws of asset ownership. That is, I understand that deeds control who owns real estate, or I understand that the names listed on a bank account as the owners are in fact the owners of the account, or I understand that the names listed as beneficiaries on a life insurance policy will receive all the life insurance proceeds. Suppose I am a manipulator and I understand these basic laws of asset ownership. If I am this manipulator and I see a will or trust that promises I will be disinherited if I contest the will or trust, this is my reaction. I just laugh. Folks, if I am this manipulator, it is almost too easy for me to cheat beneficiaries out of their inheritances without ever touching the will or trust, without even looking at the will or trust. I can completely ignore those silly no contest clauses and take everything, the real estate, the life insurance, bank accounts. Here is just one method I can use. I prepare a new deed naming me the owner of Dad's $1 million condominium. At the appropriate time, I forge Dad's signature on the deed, or I persuade him to sign his name to this magazine subscription, Dad. It's just a magazine subscription, which is really the deed. I persuade him to sign his name personally or as the trustee of his trust. If necessary, it is easy enough to get a notary I know to authenticate Dad's signature. I file the deed just before Dad's death, and voila, when Dad dies, I am the new owner of the condo. I never directly attack the will or trust at all. There is never any contest involving the validity of the will or trust, or the meaning of the will or trust, or the actions of the executors. In fact, I can argue I have never even seen the will or trust. My argument is that in the end, Dad decided to give me the condo, regardless of his will or trust he may have signed years earlier. I just defrauded Dad and his beneficiaries without breaking a sweat about cheap no contest clauses. Honest beneficiaries can argue until doomsday that I, the manipulator, contested the will or trust by changing the ownership documents, and I, the manipulator, can always argue in return that the owner, Dad, simply decided to ignore the will or trust, change his ownership documents, and give everything to me, the manipulator, because I was so kind to Dad, visited him, took him to movies, the park, and the grocery store, mowed his lawn, fixed his plumbing, and taught him how to use the remote. Folks, if you do not understand that ownership documents, such as deeds, override a typical will or trust, then you need to talk with a competent estate planning attorney in your area who really understands probate litigation. The brutal reality is that cheap, typical no contest clauses do nothing at all, can do nothing at all, to prevent a good manipulator from persuading an owner to change ownership documents, which then gives the manipulator everything: the bank account, the insurance, the investment accounts, the real estate. My name is Craig Hughes. I am a probate litigator. That means I represent in court people who fight inheritance manipulators. I represent people who fight inheritance abuse and fraud. I am also an estate planning attorney. I assure you that it is easy for manipulators to ignore no contest clauses and successfully cheat everyone out of their inheritances. More information about this brutal fact, including legal citations, is found on our website, www.estatesurpriseplanning.com.